Morning everybody, this is John with Adventures in Wrenching. During the last video we started actually working on the Project Rambler, the 1955 Nash Custom Rambler, and today I'm going to be continuing that work, and we're going to go ahead and kind of take a look not only at the plan but to see what I actually still have left to work with. All the tires are flat. These tires actually only had about 100 miles on them, maybe 200 at the most, but they're all dry rotted now. Totally cracked. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get them to hold air enough to move this forward. If it'll hold air even for a few minutes, I'm going to fill the float bowl with gasoline and move it forward, at least up to the dirt pile. I could move the dirt pile, but life goes on, and I'm actually going to be planting a fruit tree here in the next month or so. But that has absolutely nothing to do with what I'm working on here. But yeah, let's see if I can get this thing to move a couple of feet under its own power, and we'll go from there and see what I actually have to work with, so I can get into the doors and kind of look and see if my conceptualized plan is even going to work. It's going to take some fab work. If I seal up those doors but still want the windows to work, then I have no idea how it is I'm going to get the windows out if I would ever need to, because they go up into channels. That's the sort of stuff that I need to sort out. Okay, carburetor's actually pretty clean on this. That would indicate that probably about 16 or 17 years ago, when I actually got this car, even though it has been sitting for 11 years, that I went through this at one point. I am going to have to dig up some old information, because for the life of me, I can't figure out what the spring goes to. And it goes all the way through this wire right here, so it's definitely part of the assembly for the plunger, which actually seems to still work. So I'm going to fill this up with some gasoline, and that way I've got enough to where I can get this to idle after I try to air up the tires and get it to move forward. Transmission fluid was good, but I remember that, and it's actually nice and clean, but it's just a smidgen low. I know I was going to catch some grief probably. Well, and this was weird, because I don't know why it would have all of these little curvy things just to put that up, but that's okay. But anyway, yeah, I would have caught some grief yesterday because you didn't check the oil. Well, I actually had, and the oil is definitely still good. Now, one interesting thing about this is old enough that this particular Flathead 6 does not have an oil filter. So you're expected to change the oil definitely every 3,000 miles or so. But yeah, there's no filtration system on this Flathead 6 at all. Never was. So I have been told that there is a way to put one on this, and I'm going to have to actually look that up, because the later ones did. And I actually think by 1956 or 57 they did. But I'm going to have to. I see a little plug down there, and that might be where an oil galley is. So if there's an oil galley, I can probably come up with something. But yeah, it does already have the block-off plate for the fuel pump on there, so I had already set this up to put an electric fuel pump in it. It's just, before things happened, I didn't get that far. Anyway, let's put some gas in this and then air up the tires and get her to move. Well, the stuff is definitely old and beat up, but it still works. That's the problem with being in Arizona and not having it in the shop, is you can see by how it's faded and all the plastic is cracked off. Well, when every year it gets to 115 plus for several days at a time, and more than 100 for 3 months out of the year. Yeah, if you leave your tools out, which sometimes you just don't have a choice, you replace them more often because they don't last. But this has held up well. So I'm going to do some filling up of the tires. See how dry rotted these are? I don't even know if these are going to hold air. Well, that's not a good sign when air is coming out the bottom like that. Maybe it'll hold it for a little bit. But these are toast. I don't think it's going to get any better than that. I can feel air coming out of it right there. Well, the back tires are definitely shot. Well, all of them are. I won't lie. But the front ones will at least hold air. The back ones I'm just going to have to drive on what rubber is left. They won't hold air at all. I had it up just a little bit, but within 5 seconds after I disconnected the air compressor, they were back down to 0 again. So that's what it is. I might try to find a set of rollers for it somewhere. Not that I'm going to be able to find those rims anywhere, because it is a 55 Nash. It's a 4-bolt, but it's on 15-inch rims, so kind of unique. But I should be able to find some takeoff tires someplace and have one of my cohorts in crime at one of the shops use the tire machine and put something on there to at least get it to roll around while I'm doing this and testing it, and then we'll figure out what tires we want to put on there. I think I'm going to keep the original rims. I'm going to go with a Baby Moon hubcap with a chrome trim, and I'm going to, now I don't know that I mentioned it, but the car was originally like sunflower yellow with a white top. I think I'm going to go with bright canary yellow, blackout trim, and the rims, I'm going to go ahead and keep the stock factory rims, but like I said, I'm going to go with a Baby Moon hubcap, go with a chrome trim ring, and paint those yellow to match the actual car itself. I'll probably take the front bumper off. It's got a curve that comes out somewhat like a spoiler. I might extend that a little bit, give it a little bit of a raked sporty look, and then we'll decide what to do with the back. I know I haven't got a lot of viewers yet, but I'm hoping that's going to change as we start to do this. But if there is anybody out there that happens to have ideas, especially with what to do with the Continental kit, do I keep it? Do I get rid of it? Because it doesn't exactly go with a sport flare, but it definitely has that 50s vibe, and I don't know. I'm kind of torn on what to do with that, and I'm open for suggestions. Anyway, I'm going to go put some gas in this, lock that lid back on that carburetor, and move my compressor and see if we can get this moved forward a little bit, so I've got room to get inside better and work, and then actually get in the trunk and look around where the car is at and in my other projects and start collecting all my pile of parts. Well, repeat performance of trying to figure out how to get in this thing. Well, it's out where I can actually get to it right now, and that's good. So now it's going to be interesting. I'm going to be ditching the front seat. I don't have the lower springs anymore. They weren't that great anyway, so they got tossed. So I'm going to go with bucket seats in the front, so this is all going to go away. I'll probably keep the back seats. They're in good shape. Recover them, obviously, because I need to get rid of... I was going to go with a Coke theme with this car. It was going to be red and white. Those seats actually looked really good 10 years ago, but not anymore. Okay, now I did actually sell the gas cap on this, the original one. It was pretty well beat to crap, but still, it was it had the white face, but it had the big chrome R on it for Rambler. The type that I wanted to go to, and I'm still going to go to, is the chrome dome style that was used on the older pickups. Now the key actually does work in this amazingly, or at least it did. I want to be careful with this because I definitely don't want to. Hard to film and do this at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and work with this a little bit and then get the trunk open, and we will share what's in there together. Okay, I got the key to work, so now I should be able to open this up. Not much in there. Oh, but that's what I was talking about. Last video, remember I said I thought I had one? Electric fuel pump. So I'll be able to at least get this to work a little better. Now these, I have a pair of these. Those actually look like new shocks still. New old stock. No rust. That part's good. Okay, had to spend a little time charging the camera. And I do have, well, let me take the camera off here. Hold on. Alright. So I've got my fuel pump temporarily put in place. Good old gas can right there. We're going to see here in a few minutes if it will hold pressure and not just blow straight past the seat. But I got to wire this in first. I'm not doing anything permanently because that's not where it's going to stay. But I want to at least get it to run for a little bit. And then we'll go from there. Like I said, I don't want to do anything permanently. Because when I do it permanently, I want to wire in and heat shrink it and do everything I'm supposed to do. I actually need to get a fuse block and probably a step down to a separate fuse block, because I'm pretty sure that the radio in this is still 6 volt. I haven't tried it. I might have to do a little restoration, but I'd kind of like to keep the original radio in it since it's there. And maybe have some, wow, that's tough. And maybe have some an aftermarket radio just to do something with. But having that original AM radio in there, I think, adds some flavor to it. The other thing that I think is 6 volt is the clock. And it does have the original clock too. Now I could aftermarket the clock and probably get something, but if you have the original parts, you might as well use them. Alright, let's see. Of course, I've got the gas right in the engine bay. That's always bright, you know, safety first type thing. See if I can blow myself up. Actually, and speaking of that, let me disconnect this first. I don't want to spark. Why would they do that? They give you like a 1/4 inch on the bottom. It's really dumb. Alright, let me rat tail this. And there you go. It's working. Well, I feel that's not good. There's no fuel coming out of this. What is that? it does say it's going the direction of the flow. It says do not wire to positive, which I didn't because that's the ground right there. Alright, we're going to try this and see if I can catch my car on fire. I had to put a couple clamps on it. I had to prime it. The old mouth suction style. That tasted marvelous. Ugh. Well, it's running. And I think I know what that noise is too. Now it's not working great, but you can see that the generator is not tight, but that's too much water. Hold on. There we go. Okay. And it's running on its own. The water pump is working. That has to be tightened up, but you can see the shaft spinning to the water pump back here. It is definitely not moving very fast, but it is moving, but it is running. That noise is just something rubbing. I gotta figure out what it is though. That's not supposed to be that way either, I don't think. Well, that sounds pretty awful. Okay, I got everything disconnected again. But if you look down here, see how bright that is on the second belt pulley? So I think that is scraping on something, whether it's the actual cross brace or something that's stuck down there with it. It shouldn't be doing the cross brace because this was working fine before, but that is definitely shiny, and that metal on metal scraping would definitely indicate that that's a possibility. Other things that are going on that I'm going to have to address: the distributor was moving at the same time, and I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to do that. I need to get the alternator, this Volkswagen alternator, lined up so I can actually put the belt on that, because it's only going to have one belt until I get the AC actually lined up. When I put a sanding compressor in this whole system is coming out, and I'm going to replace it with a sanding compressor and newer components. This AC line here is really strange anyway, because the one that's actually coming out, the smaller one that goes up into the receiver dryer, or not the receiver dryer, but the well, yeah, that too, condenser receiver dryer, comes down, goes all the way there, loops around, comes all the way back to here, and then is this line right here. So it goes all the way over, all the way back, all the way down, and into your receiver. Weird. So I'm gonna have myself some interesting times trying to sort this out. As far as the coil, yeah, we just set that in there anywhere. No big deal. But it does start, runs just fine. When I had water going through it, the temperature was not rising, so that actually temperature gauge at least works. And that's my temperature sending unit right back there. I didn't see an oil light, so my oil pressure switch is out on it. Probably doesn't have any headlights or anything because I think these are the wires right here. So today we managed to actually get it to move under its own power, at least 10 feet, where I can get into it. And it does start. Fuel pump's wired in, so we're making some progress. Anyway, if you're enjoying this at all, please like, subscribe, follow me on Facebook and here on YouTube, and I will see you on the next adventure. Bye now.